Hello, good morning. This is Bob Rutledge uh, in Pebble Creek Subdivision. Last night there was a great exchange on Nextdoor, and I'm quite surprised it was left up. Uh, I didn't get into it until very late, but believe me, I watched every moment of it. I was notified by, I have other minions in this neighborhood too. If y'all can have your minions, I have minions, okay? And so I was immediately notified when this started, this back and forth started, and just chose to stay out of it until the right moment to draw people out to get their true feelings to start to come out in it, because I knew that they would get a little upset before the end. So, and I didn't want to be the one to upset them. I just wanted the truth to upset them, and I knew it would. The truth is not proposed by Bob Rutledge, but by other people, and you could tell it rattled their cages. So, behind me, today's picture is brought to you by the ship that launched it all. This couple was smart enough to. They didn't just move their boat around on their yard, they got rid of it. They didn't just move the trailer around in their yard, they got rid of it from the get-go. I've made fun of them in other videos. They really do need to change the way they dress, but that's an issue, a personal issue for them. But they were smart enough to move the damn boat and the trailer, folks. You got to hand it to them. Other people were not, and why they didn't, I think it's because they got on Nextdoor here and started taking legal advice from some of these people, some of whom are not even on here anymore. Some guy named Jones or something. I seem to remember him saying that I didn't have a real lawyer at the time, and I'm sitting there falling out of my chair laughing that I'd spent $200 on LegalZoom to get letters sent out. And again, thanks to these folks, they actually picked the phone up and called my lawyer. I mean, it just seems common sense now that you would do something like that. I don't mind you questioning it, whether something's going to happen or not, but to just blindly listen to somebody on Nextdoor is a whole nother thing. Anyway, let me minimize this. Let's get to talking a little bit about this. Last night, Miss Barber posted this. I don't know whether she had a good heart about it or not, but I'm glad she did. It got things started. And Richard Alexander is the voice of reason here, folks. If he's one of those few people, if you meet in life and you come back to me and say the man doesn't know what he's talking about, then I assure you, you don't know what you're talking about. And that doesn't mean that Richard and I agree on everything. I'm just saying he's a pretty level-headed guy. He's not like me. And Miss Gidget here, she represents the new people that have come to town. They've not been here that long, and they've gotten caught up in all of this. And I think now, though, she and others like her are getting to hear both sides of the story, starting to pick up on what's the truth. And it's like I explained in another video. You don't want to believe that your neighbors will look you straight in the eye and lie at you, but they will. And this neighborhood or any neighborhood, and I believe I remember Miss Gidget coming from California. It's just human nature. They want what they want, and they'll do what it takes to get it. I'm not going to go down through every one of these, but I really recommend going and reading through this back and forth. You'll notice the same two ladies come back every single time. There is no getting the last word in with these people. And they get downright derogatory about it. Ruth Harrington is another person that is a voice of reason. If you disagree with her, folks, you need to have your head checked. I'm just telling you, these are people that are both learned. I bet they're both are very well educated, and they've given a lot of thought to what they say before they say it. They're not some hothead like me. Gidget, I would like to explain to you something, that this neighborhood, you by far are the baby. Everybody else is even older than me. I'm 65 next month. And some of these people are in failing health. I mean, I wish they'd get more fired up too. I felt exactly the same way you feel. But then I found that these people are in failing health. They have relatives dying left and right every other day. They ain't got time to deal with this crap, but that doesn't mean they don't care. In spite of what some of these other women have said on here today, it is not true what they're saying. I think I let this go on for a while, back and forth. And, I would explain to Richard if he were sitting here, you're arguing. Thank God the neighbors are getting to watch this. But if you think you're going to change Becky's and Lisa Bougeau's mind, you are pissing in the wind, buddy. It's not going to happen. They have an agenda. Now, up here in the beginning, they claim they have no agenda. But when you get down here and you were one of the ones, I mean, I pushed them over the edge, but you set them up. You can see the long knives come out and their true side of the story on this. Because, and Ruth, again, I respectfully disagree. Ruth, they're not respectfully disagreeing with you. I promise you. This is a blood battle with them. They're just covering it up. Okay? Now, here's where I finally jump in. Several hours into the exchange, I explained to people, and this is for you too, Gidget, most vote no changes by not showing up. Stop to think about it. These people are 70 years old. Some of them have lived here for 8 or 10 years, and they've been put down year after year over wanting these RVs, boats, and motorhomes and large trailers out of here. They're not here to fight. Their health is failing. They've got arthritis. I've had a bout of arthritis this past week myself. It is no fun to continue fighting this fight. And not to mention when it just doesn't make any sense. It's so black and white. I go on down. So I'm telling you, Gidget, most people will not show up for the meeting, not because they care, but because they do care. They're voting no. Their vote, it takes 2/3 of the vote, 2/3 of everybody that owns a home here to change these CNRs. The reason it's that way is because it's part of my home loan package. You cannot just willy-nilly be changing a document that affects my mortgage holder. They're not going to tolerate it. So you've got to go through all kinds of hoops to make changes. It's there for your protection too in the long term. And I'm not just talking to Giz in that regard. I'm talking to everybody in this neighborhood. You cannot make these changes without having a, as one suggested, having a meeting. They're not going to come to a meeting. But at the very least, you've got to have people sign with a notary public, and they're not going to do it. So, of course, when I made this statement, I'm immediately wrong. It's not true. Becky Newsom, I'm trying to explain this to you. You're in the minority. You're in the minority. Becky, you're in the minority. Becky, can you hear me? Focus. Focus right now. You are in the minority. You've always been in the minority. You'll always be in the minority. I can point back to 10 years ago, some of the notes taken during HOA meetings that showed that about 65% want to leave those covenants and restrictions as are. They don't want boats and RVs in this thing. And if anything, I think it's gone up. We've had an influx of new people this past year that's unbelievable. They've all paid a lot of money for these houses. They're buying the houses at the peak of the market. They don't want the prices to go down because they'll get caught holding the bag. So therefore, they sure as heck don't want RVs, boats, and trailers. They don't want that sitting in their backyard. If anybody in the world thinks that that thing is going to increase the value of somebody's property, you need to have your head examined. I'm not talking about the guy that owns the boat. I'm talking about the people, the 1, 2 on each side, and then the 3 behind them that have to look at it. 5 people have to look at that boat all the time. Well, they don't have to look at it anymore. And I know that 2 or 3 of the houses have sold, and they jumped up in price tremendously since they originally sold. So, Becky, I'm right. You're wrong. Live with it. Stop this nonsense of arguing with people. And then Lisa, she's attacked me since a year and a half, 2 years ago. I've got all the copies, Lisa, of all the emails. I'll go toe to toe with you. You think you're better educated than anybody in the neighborhood. You're not. In fact, the fact that y'all, neither one of you two can read have Lisa Boudreau and Becky Newsom, I have a challenge for you. Have you read the court order? I mean, really, have you read it? And you're telling people what to do. Blows my mind. But like I said, the CNRs are clear. I've read the thing now 5 times. I did not read it, like I should have when I first moved in here, but I had a cursory understanding of it. But since this lawsuit, I promise you, I've read it 5 full times all the way through. There is nothing ambiguous about this CNRs. Ask the judge. Read the court order. All you got to do is go to my YouTube channel, and on several of the videos, I have a link to the court order. Folks, please read it. That's all I've ever asked, is be informed. Don't take anybody's word for this stuff. Mine or Becky Newsom's or Richard's or Lisa Boudreau. Don't listen to any of us. Go read it for yourself. So anyway, read all of this. Richard makes a bunch of great, points about it, that this was always done underhanded. The new letter that's come out is completely underhanded. To that end, I am not paying my dues. Maybe we need to get together and put it into an account to be held until the board of directors start enforcing the covenants as written. That's my suggestion. I posted on here an abbreviated version of the court order. Again, a plain reading. This is the judge talking. A plain reading of the 2 sections that people argued does not cause the court to find ambiguity. The true intent of the parties, meaning the people who built this neighborhood and wrote those original covenants, was to keep any boat from public view. Now, folks, what does public view mean to you? From the street? Could it also mean from your neighbor's side yards? Could it, the one on each side? Or heck, if you got a boat that big, it could be seen from 2 neighbors down, maybe 3 neighbors down. But for sure, it can be seen from behind. It can be seen from behind worse. And this picture was brought up in court. This is what flipped the judge out. It can be seen worse from behind. It can be seen from behind and on each side. It can probably be seen from behind and each side so it could possibly be affecting 7 and 8 houses. The judge ruled to keep the true intent of the parties was to keep any boat, and God forbid any of you fools think that this is not covering boats. I mean, RVs and large trailers too, from public view in the subdivision. And then here's another pull quote. As stated above, the court finds no ambiguity of the language of the competing sections. There's no ambiguity. Now, here's the funny part again. This is the judge talking, folks. Any argument to the contrary is reasonable for an attorney at trial. Why is it reasonable for an attorney? Attorneys get paid to lie. Attorneys stand up in front of that judge all day long and lie from the time they open their mouth to the time they sit back down. The judges come to think that that's reasonable behavior from a paid attorney. But to argue that the landowner was confused or looked at 3.7 for boat restrictions and the rest of this thing in the backyard is a stretch at best. Therefore, a permanent injunction is thereby granted against the defendants, directing them to remove the offending boat. If they had still had their RV back there, it would have said and RV. If they had a trailer back there, it would have said and large trailer, unless it is totally screened from public view. Public view does not mean driving down the road. Public view means your side lots and backlots as well. If a boat can be seen, however slight, please, folks, I do not want to sue everybody, contrary to what Lisa Boudreau says, but I will. This also means RVs and large trailers. You bring this back before this judge or any other judge in Baldwin County, they're going to look up the previous case. They're going to see what their buddy said. They're not going to contradict him, okay? They're going to rule exactly the same way. They're going to rule quicker this time. It's not going to stretch out for 2 and 3 years. It's going to be wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, pay Bob Rutledge's court expenses. Because right down here, let me keep reading. If a boat can be seen, however slight, from on the roads of the subdivision, then it is not screened from public view and therefore a violation of the covenants and restrictions. Trust me, if I bring this back and say I can still see it from the backyard, the judge is going to still rule in my favor. The plaintiff is awarded reasonable attorney fees of $7,500 plus thousands more for the costs of court. Plus, he still has to pay his own lawyer. Okay. Again, for the people in the room that just cannot get this stuff straight in their head, let's go to this. I posted the other day, if I can get it to open up here. And I hereby promise you that on or about January the 15th, I'm going to drive around the neighborhood. I'm going to get neighbors send me pictures. And you must have your boat, RV, and trailer out of the neighborhood, not moved to the back line like one guy's already done, but completely, I'm sorry, I did not say that in this thing. I don't mean move it from the front of your yard to the back of your yard. I mean remove it from the neighborhood, okay? I'm not being mean here. I'm telling you what is the truth. The truth is the CNRs are not ambiguous. They mean what they say. Get the stuff out of here, not in here, out of here, not from the front of the yard to the back of the yard. You're still in view of your neighbor. Like that one. Hey, his is all the way as back as he could get it. It didn't disappear, did it? Okay. Let's go back here a minute. Boop, boop, boop. So here's a great example. This person, and I hate to pick on him, but you did it. So don't blame me. You're getting called out. If I can get this open. Had their trailer up near the front, evidently. They've seen this video. Yesterday, maybe day before yesterday. It's not really material, is it? They've now moved it to the back of their yard. Now, trust me, be a horse's ass and go after these people that sent me this picture, and you'll see what a lawsuit's all about, okay? But anyway, this is not what the judge is talking about. If your neighbor, that neighbor over there can see it, this neighbor over here can see it, this neighbor here can see it, the neighbor on that side of the fence can see it, probably 2 doors down can see it, move it out of the neighborhood. Move it out of the neighborhood, please. Nobody wants to sue you, but I will. Okay, I think I've ranted long enough. Again, go back and read this thing. I have screenshot it. It doesn't matter whether y'all take it down now or not. Again, Lisa and Becky, y'all need to let people make their comment without coming back. Okay? I challenge you to do that. I challenge you to read the court order. I challenge you to read Article 7.2 of the Covenants and Restrictions. The proposed changes are not going to change anything between now and January the 15th, folks. I'm going to sue you. It doesn't matter. It's not going to pass. I promise you. If you live in this delusionary world that you're in the majority, you're wrong. If you were right, you could drive through the neighborhood and at least 60% of the people would have a boat or an RV or a trailer protruding above their fence. I mean, that's just one common sense way I would take a look at it, but they don't. In fact, there's fewer now than there were back when we started all this. And there will be fewer tomorrow, and there better be fewer January the 15th, because that's just an arbitrary line that I've drawn in the sand. And my lawyer is begging to file more lawsuits because he's going to get paid on this. He's going to get paid by you. The minute the lawsuit's signed, you're going to have to pay the court costs. You're going to have to pay a lawyer to answer it for you. You can afford to store your boat and RV and trailer for a long, long time. And if I have to explain to people who have large lawn care businesses, trailers that they're running out of here, that includes you too, and you're an officer of the court down in Gulf Shores, better be gone. Again, though, thank you for starting this thread because it's getting the knowledge out. You've done more than my sitting in the car did the other day. No, you really hadn't, and I'll show you what happened. This is hilarious. I do have to show you this. All right, this is YouTube. This is YouTube right here. Look at this. This is just one video, has been viewed 95 times for 7.5 hours. Look how it just climbs every day. This is incredible. Let me go back to another video. And this is going to get views too. All right, the one that I thought was the funniest, and trust me, I have more footage that I can make out of that video, Mr. Perryman and Mr. Boatwright. I'm willing to say, let's have a truce here. Y'all need to speak up to these neighbors and tell them to get rid of the boats and RVs. And then I don't have any need to post any videos. Heck, I'll take them down. I don't want you to have to be embarrassed by this 25 years from now. It's not coming down otherwise. But hey, imagine how many views it's had. The bald-headed video, see, it's going up right now, has had 81 views in just a few days. Imagine what it's going to be in 20 years. I'm pretty excited about it personally. It might go viral. That's tracking to go viral right there. But I don't want to. I can turn it off. Let's stop this. I'm all for peace in the neighborhood. Now here's the one that I recorded this back in November and was going to post it, and then I said no, they haven't ruled on the lawsuit yet. Not counting my chickens before they hatch. And so I held on it for all these weeks, 45 days, and then I posted it. Look at that. I mean, that looks like an F-18. That looks like the Blue Angels taking off. 49 views in 23 hours. But it explains everything from before the lawsuit went to court. And so it's been watched over 4 hours. It's going to be there forever. Okay. Maybe it should stay there forever so that there won't be more hijinks like this further down the line. But understand that there's permanent consequences to your bad behavior. At this point, right now, it's only cost one person money. It's only cost one or two people some embarrassment. Hell, it's cost me some embarrassment. I don't like doing this. I promise you. Parts of it I love, but because I just don't like bad people. I don't like people lying. And when you stand up there and tell people, you make the insinuation that this doesn't apply to other people's boats and trailers, it's the same thing as a lie. Yes, it does. And now it doesn't mean that the judge is going to knock on your door and tell you to move it, but it does mean that I'll file a lawsuit I'll win the lawsuit so fast it'll make your head spin, and then you're going to be out of money and still have to move it, just like the Perrymons did. So let's do like the boat rights. Move it before there has to be a lawsuit. Don't shift it around on your property. Get it out of the neighborhood. Like I said, I am so sorry that a sign that says move your boats and RVs made some of you think that you could just move it to the back property line. No, it meant get it out of the neighborhood. I'll see it from somewhere. Other neighbors will see it from their backyards. And we're going to all file a lawsuit again. I've got people that have joined me in these lawsuits, but I don't need them. I like all the glory to myself, if that's the way you want to put it. So listen to this. Move your boats, large RVs, large trailers, completely out of this Pebble Creek subdivision by January the 15th, or get sued on January the 1st. I thought, well, the hands ought to be here. Now, honey, listen to me. Concentrate on what I'm saying. Move your boats, RVs, trailers out of the neighborhood by January 15th, or I'm going to sue you. Okay? Can you understand that? Shake your head. Yes, you understand. Now take care of your business.